So crypto had been a leading indicator for actually most of the last 5 years.
Listen up. $900 million just vanished from crypto in the last 24 hours. And that money, it's gone forever. We're talking about liquidated positions here, folks. Leverage traders are getting absolutely destroyed out there. Now, what I'm about to reveal in this video is pretty massive. Honestly, I'm a little hesitant to even talk about this because I've noticed something weird happening on YouTube lately. Every time someone brings up what I'm about to discuss, their videos seem to mysteriously disappear. But let's dive in anyway. First, let's talk about what's happening in the market right now. Look, using leverage is like playing with fire. It's incredibly dangerous. The CNBC letter just dropped some breaking news. Crypto liquidations have surged to $900 million in just 24 hours as Bitcoin comes crashing down toward $84,000. Here's the crazy part. There's been no major headlines or market-moving news to explain this. Bitcoin has literally erased over $120 billion in market cap in a single day. That's insane! And yes, leverage trading is risky business, but here's the thing. Leverage isn't even the main culprit here. So what's really driving this crash? Sure, China came out saying they're going to ban crypto again. But honestly, does anyone even care what China says anymore? I mean, come on! We've got the world's largest economy, the United States, embracing crypto with open arms, while China is still playing the same old ban crypto card. It's honestly ridiculous at this point. But here's the thing. China's announcement isn't the real driver behind this massive sell-off. The truth is much more significant, and frankly, it's something that should have all of us concerned. Let me break this down for you, starting with Bitcoin. Bitcoin actually hit a low of $83,900. All right, let's dive into Bitcoin because I've been keeping a close eye on it. And you know I'm always tracking these movements. Take a look at this weekly chart. Now check out what happened in just 24 hours. Wow, this wasn't just a dip. This was a brutal sell-off that caught a lot of people off guard. Bitcoin took a serious hit, dropping almost 10% in a single day. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hey, that's crypto for you, right? And you're not wrong. But here's the thing. We were all expecting something completely different. We were hoping for that big reversal everyone's been talking about, but instead, we got slapped with even more bearish action. At this point, honestly, all we can really hope for is to see higher lows forming. That's literally our best-case scenario right now. But here's what's really bugging me. What actually caused this massive drop? Was it just a cascade of liquidations, or is there something bigger happening behind the scenes? That's what I'm really trying to figure out. And of course, when Bitcoin bleeds, everything else follows. Even XRP got hammered. It dropped below $2 for a while there, which was painful to watch. Look at this 24-hour chart, and here's the weekly view. Pretty much every chart in the crypto space is looking absolutely brutal right now. This sell-off was massive, and you can see its impact across the entire market. Speaking of the total crypto market cap, we're looking at almost a 10% crash across the board. That's $307 billion completely wiped from the crypto market in just 24 hours. Let that sink in for a second. But here's where things get really interesting, and I need you to pay attention to this part. I want to take you back to October 10th, because that's when everything started falling apart. I'm convinced that if what I think happened on October 10th didn't actually happen, we would have avoided all this chaos. We probably would have already seen that massive reversal everyone's been waiting for. But something broke that day, something big. We've talked about this before, we've speculated about it, but here's what I believe went down. Major market makers completely collapsed. The crazy part? We got zero headlines about it. No confirmation, no major news articles, nothing. It's like it was swept under the rug. October 10th changed everything in crypto. Everything. That was the turning point. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Tom Lee actually came forward with some insight about what he thinks happened that day. This is from a CNBC post, and what he said is absolutely wild. According to Tom Lee, on October 10th, 1/3, let me repeat that, 1/3 of crypto market makers went out of business during that massive $19 billion liquidation event. Think about that for a moment. 1/3 of the market makers, gone. Now, can we confirm this is 100% true? Honestly, no. But I absolutely believe some major market makers got completely destroyed that day, and we still haven't heard the full story. The effects are still rippling through the market right now. Listen to this clip because it's going to blow your mind.
So crypto had been a leading indicator for actually most of the last 5 years. But on October 10th, crypto had what I would call Armageddon. A flash event, but it led to a liquidation that was never seen in the 15 years history of Bitcoin. About a third of the market makers went out of business that day. Almost 2 million accounts went to zero.
Yeah.
And it was because of a pricing error, what I would call a glitch. It led to what they call auto-deleveraging.
You've definitely made that case that it definitely seems as if there was something in the kind of market maker functioning that got fouled. Yeah. Now, that being said, the reason you can have all those accounts auto-liquidated is because there were that many accounts with that much leverage that got Bitcoin up to where it was, above 120.
Yes.
Right? I mean, so it's not as if it happened in a vacuum.
Yeah. So in a way, it means crypto represents really a very precise measurement of risk appetite, because there's so much more leverage. And that got wiped out.
Right.
That last time it happened in 2022, it took 8 weeks before people sort of touch their toes back in. I think that's where we are. We're near a bottom. But now I don't think crypto leads. Crypto is lagging because it's really the AI that's going to be leading.
Okay.
So here's the thing. He's not giving us the full picture about those market makers. He's just calling it a glitch, a simple price glitch. But let me tell you what really went down. This all comes back to Binance. And if you're in crypto, you know exactly who they are. They're basically the king of crypto exchanges. I mean, let's be honest here. Binance pretty much has a monopoly on the exchange game. They've been the #1 crypto exchange for as long as I can remember. Going all the way back to 2017, when they first exploded onto the scene, they've just dominated everything. They didn't just grow, they completely took over the entire space. So when Binance has problems, the whole crypto market feels it. And boy, did they have problems. Here's what happened. Binance started showing massive price glitches across multiple altcoins. We're talking prices dropping to literally zero. Can you imagine seeing your coins show up as worthless on the world's biggest exchange? Now, this wasn't just a visual bug. These API glitches triggered a liquidation nightmare. When the system thinks prices are at zero, it automatically force closes leveraged positions, completely wiping out traders. And when that happens on the scale of Binance, it sends shockwaves through the entire market. We can't say for certain this was the main cause of everything, but here's what we do know. Binance has been dumping massive amounts of Bitcoin and other crypto assets. But wait, it gets even more interesting. There's a major player behind Binance that's helping orchestrate all of this. Ever heard of a company called Winterm? Well, you're about to. Now let me introduce you to Wintermute. And trust me, this is where things get really interesting. Wintermute is a massive market maker, and I mean massive. These guys are major players in the crypto space. If you actually go to their website and check out what they do, it's pretty eye-opening. They basically say, hey, we use our own high-frequency trading algorithms and fancy quantitative strategies across every major trading platform out there. We're talking centralized finance, DeFi, traditional markets, you name it, they're in it. But wait, there's more. They also provide OTC liquidity. That's over-the-counter trading for those who don't know. They're dealing with spot trading, derivatives, the whole 9 yards. And get this, their clients range from huge global financial institutions all the way down to crypto-native firms. They're even into venture investments and basically incubating new projects. So why am I telling you all this? Here's the kicker, and this is what should have everyone paying attention. Every time we see one of these massive, brutal sell-offs in crypto, guess whose fingerprints seem to be all over the price action? That's right, Wintermute. It's like clockwork. Major crash happens, and when you dig deep enough, you start seeing patterns that all point back to their trading activity. Coincidence? I'm starting to think not. Let me show you a perfect example of this in action. We need to go back to October 30th for this one. There's a post from Butcher Easy 808 that caught everyone's attention. He dropped this bombshell. Just in, Binance is dumping on the market again via Wintermute. And he wasn't just talking, he had the receipts. He showed actual transactions from Binance's hot wallet going straight to Wintermute. We're talking about massive transfers here. Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, huge chunks of crypto moving around. Now, here's the important part. These screenshots don't directly prove they're selling and creating downward pressure. Technically, we're just seeing transfers between wallets. But here's where it gets suspicious. The timing is everything. Right after our recent massive sell-off in the market, and boom, suddenly we're seeing massive sell pressure hitting the market right alongside those exact same transactions. Now look, I'll be fair here. There's definitely some major buying happening too. Big players are still accumulating. But when you look at the bigger picture, most of what we're seeing is straight up sell pressure flooding the market. But here's the part that should really get your attention. This isn't just a Binance thing. We're seeing this same pattern happening across multiple exchanges. It's like a coordinated effort happening everywhere at once. But wait, there's more evidence piling up. We've got another report from Marty Party with a market maker update that's absolutely wild. He's showing us that assets were being sent to Wintermute literally all day yesterday. Not just a few transactions, we're talking constant transfers happening throughout the entire day. He's put together a complete summary of what went down, and when you see the results, it all starts to make sense. Look at this chart. He's highlighted all the crypto liquidation levels for us. You can see exactly where these massive liquidations hit, and the timing? It lines up perfectly with those Wintermute transfers. And here's where it gets really interesting. Check out the most active entities during this whole mess. We're looking at the biggest centralized exchanges. And guess who's leading the pack? Binance. No surprise there. They moved over 1,738 Bitcoin, more than 34,000 Ethereum, and a staggering 358,000 Solana. Those are massive numbers. But here's the smoking gun. The #1 market maker during all of this chaos? You guessed it, Wintermute. They handled 1,747 Bitcoin and over 41,000 Ethereum. So when you connect the dots, it's pretty clear. This whole market crash was primarily driven by Binance and Wintermute working together. The evidence is right there in black and white. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. All right, so you're probably wondering, how exactly did they cause this entire market meltdown? Here's how it works. When you dump that much sell pressure into the market all at once, you start hitting those critical liquidation levels. And once those levels get triggered, it creates a massive domino effect that cascades through the entire market. One liquidation triggers another, which triggers another, and before you know it, boom, the whole market is crashing. It's like pushing over the first domino in a perfectly lined up chain reaction. Now, this gets even more interesting because Butcher dropped another bombshell post on November 3rd that really ties everything together. So this whole thing started after that massive sell-off on October 10th. And from there, all the way through November, we kept seeing these brutal crashes hit the market, especially at the beginning of November. Now, let me break down exactly how Binance and Wintermute are absolutely destroying the entire crypto market, and this is going to blow your mind. In just the past 30 days alone, these two have traded $34.5 billion between them. But here's their playbook, and it's diabolical. First, Binance sends massive chunks. We're talking $10 to $100 million worth of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, straight to Wintermute's wallets. And this happens hours before every major market dump. It's like they're loading the cannon before they fire. Then, Wintermute takes all those assets and market sells them directly on Binance, which triggers those cascading liquidations we talked about. They've literally used the October 10th flash crash playbook 4 times already in 2025. Here's how brutal this gets. Wintermute received $700 million from Binance. Then massive sell walls appeared on every trading pair. Within 90 minutes, just 90 minutes, $19 billion in long positions got completely liquidated. Then guess what? Wintermute buys everything back at a 30% discount, while Binance pockets all the funding rate fees. It's like stealing candy from a baby. And today, same exact script. Binance sends assets to Wintermute. They dump $1.14 billion worth of Bitcoin, and boom, $1.16 billion in liquidations while Powell was still giving his speech. Retail traders get wiped out, and the whales swoop in to refill their bags at rock-bottom prices. This is exactly how market makers have been screwing over regular investors, and we've been calling this out for years. And if you think this is just isolated to 1 or 2 players, think again. Check out these inflow and outflow numbers. They're absolutely insane. Look at these outflows. It's not just Binance in on this game. We've got Coinbase moving over 8,000 Bitcoin, BitMEX pushing almost 8,000 Bitcoin, and Binance with over 5,000 Bitcoin. But here's the kicker. Sitting at the very top of this list is Wintermute, with over 9,300 Bitcoin. They're literally the biggest player in this whole operation. This is absolutely wild when you think about it. We're looking at the largest crypto exchanges in the world working hand in hand with the biggest market maker to coordinate these massive moves. This isn't some random market volatility. This is straight-up coordination on a scale that most people can't even imagine. Let's rewind back to October 10th and see how this all played out. After that initial crash, things were actually starting to look pretty promising. We began forming what looked like a solid floor. You know, that moment when you think, okay, maybe we've hit bottom. The market found some decent support right around the $3.5 trillion mark, and honestly, it felt like we were getting our footing back. Everything seemed to be stabilizing, and for a brief moment, it looked like we might actually be turning things around. But then, bam! Another absolutely brutal sell-off hit us out of nowhere. And this massive dump I'm showing you right here, this was that exact moment. This was the exact moment when Binance sent over $1.14 billion worth of Bitcoin to Wintermute, which then triggered $1.16 billion in liquidations. The numbers are just staggering. Here's what's really bothering me about all of this. I genuinely believe this entire sell-off since October 10th has been completely artificial and exaggerated. Think about it for a second. We're seeing hundreds of billions of dollars getting wiped from the market. And for what? There are literally zero headlines, no major market-moving news, nothing that would justify this level of carnage. It's just money vanishing into thin air. And when you trace it all back, it keeps leading to the same players. Wintermute as the biggest market maker, Binance and other major exchanges all working together. The coordination is undeniable at this point. This whole situation is absolutely crazy, and I think more people need to understand what's really happening behind the scenes in crypto. If this analysis opened your eyes to what's really going on, smash that like button and hit subscribe with notifications on. I'll keep bringing you this kind of deep dive content that the mainstream media won't touch. You can also follow me on